There's a very interesting video that was done very recently by the SundayWorld podcast. So they had this interview with Bishop Zondo, and Bishop Zondo had some very interesting things to talk about. He was describing the different cases and all those things. Now, I may not keep those cases in memory, and there are people that know them very well in detail, Tate Popedi and Mabochobocho. They know these cases in detail. And so he gave a lot of details there. I'm not talking about that. There was something that he spoke about that I was like, this is very interesting, going back to the kind of subjects that we deal with on this channel, which is doctrinal matters. Is this what Christians believe? And so I thought this particular point points to, is this what we believe about justice? Okay? Is this what we believe about justice?
2006, 2007, 8. There were cases about Zuma.
Yes.
So in church, we are praying for everybody who has a problem.
Okay.
Including Lega Babu Zuma.
Yes.
And we had some of those people that were praying, good lama case, not because it was more like, guys, we just got this freedom.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it says, okay. And all those kind of things. Out of the jealousy of democracy, but why do we demoralize people and kill them? And then we started being involved with that. And then when Zagalaguti and we started praying with him and all that.
You can hear Bishop Zondo thinks if we are the same color, we are black, why should we be taking each other to court and in the whole nine whites? Whether you did it or didn't do it, that's in the nature of what he's saying.
We are praying for everybody who has a problem.
Okay.
Including Lega Babu Zuma.
Yes.
And we had some of those people that were praying, good lama case, not because it was more like, guys, we just got this freedom.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it says,
okay.
And all those kind of things. Out of the jealousy of democracy, but why do we demoralize people and kill them?
The nature of what he's saying is that, why should we take each other to court, whether one did it or didn't do it? I was like, hey. No, that was literally my amusement was that. So what is it that determines justice? If we think color should dictate whether someone should be, I thought that was very interesting. That was very, very interesting. And also, being it that he himself is going to court, should we apply the same idea? I'm just asking, So since he applies that towards JZ, should we apply the same idea towards him? So, we are black together. So is that the same method we should apply? It's just a question. It's a question that I'm interested in understanding. What then determines wrong that the law should come in and intervene? What determines that? And inside that whole thing, he mentions jealousy. And I'm like, okay, so if the person did do something, where is jealousy? Because at that point, anything can be labeled jealousy. Even if you did it, it could be labeled to say, no, he did it, but you are jealous. So at that point, when should we ask you guys? Should we ask, maybe, is this not jealousy, Because at that point, you can just label anything jealousy. And at what point should people be held accountable by the law if we're just looking at We are black together.
And we had some of those people that were praying, good lama case achithwe. Not because it was more like, guys, we just got this freedom.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it says busy siyashayana dina.
Okay.
Singabantu abamnyama and all those kind of things.
Is the justice system determined by we are black together? Is the justice system determined by jealousy? Like you said, you are not thinking about whether right or wrong. I had many questions when I heard him saying that. Like I had the whole interview, I was watching the whole interview, but then I was like, I'm still not finding if there's anything that I should talk about. The cases, he's giving descriptions that I don't know, but here, by what standard of morality do we stand on to determine right? What standard of morality do we stand on to determine wrong? What is it that we should use to determine this is a prosecutable matter? Because if people are now just going to use that, we are black together. Something's wrong there. You see, this is why, Basarani, this is why we emphasize on doctrine. Because doctrine determines what a person believes. So what Bishop Zondo here believes, I don't see how a pastor comes to believing that. I don't see it. I just don't see it. Like I don't see the fact that we might not be clear. That is the more we should actually seek to go to court. Now, yes, the Bible does talk about, dealing with spiritual matters and not having to take each other to court concerning those things, right? Yeah, the Bible does speak about that. We are clear there. But then if someone steals from someone, should we be thinking about black and white? If someone is doing something illegal, the whole case of JZ, should we be thinking about, we're black, we're black, is that a time for us to be thinking, we are black, jealous? Is that a time for us to be thinking about that? You see, this is why. This is why you have to apply. What does the Bible say about right and wrong? And what determines right and wrong? You see, that's why we have God there. You see, when you come to doctrine, you will find that doctrine always emanates from the lawgiver. There is a law, there is a lawgiver. And the lawgiver is the one that determines the right. The lawgiver is the one that determines the wrong. And based off of that, we can now deduce out of that. How do we determine? We don't change it because of all these particular circumstances. Our belief system remains consistent because it is based on his standard. It's not my standard. It's not Zondo's standard. It's even higher than the court. What do you believe? And have you believed that because a pastor said so, or have you believed that because the Bible points you to those things? Because if you are not clear on those things, you are vulnerable to being twisted. You're vulnerable to being twisted. You are vulnerable to being shallow-minded concerning what you ought to believe concerning those things. No, I'm not asking you, pastor. I'm not asking you to go ask your pastor. I'm asking you, what do you believe? You hold the Bible and it. What umzalwane? You, what do you believe right is? We must talk about the color, there is a law based on ubumunyama. What is that? Reality Show, the daily Christian commentary videos. If it's the first time over here, be sure to check out some other videos that are down in the pinned comments. I'm gonna check you guys over there. I hope this video kind of clears some of these areas, because we ought to solidify what we believe independently. You must solidify what you believe independently without anyone's interruption. Or what do you believe? What defines right and wrong. You're waiting for the pastor to say. The pastor hasn't made up his mind. He still has to think about color of the skin.